Yo, what is going on, guys? SMH Super Mario Hoops back with some more hoops.
And today we are hopping right back into the top 50 list of all time. Now, if you guys have been following along, we're over the halfway point. But today we got none other than Dwyane Wade. And where do I have D Wade on my all-time list? Well, I got him at number 23. So before we hop into D Wade, gonna need you guys to hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe, hit that notification bell as well. Then leave a comment down below about what are your thoughts on my take for Dwyane Wade, and then where you rank him personally. But without further ado, let's hop into the Flash. Now, over Dwyane Wade's career, he made 13 All-Star appearances every year from 2005 until 2016, and then he did get that one in 2019. Now, granted, that one probably wasn't deserved, and it was more of an NBA honoring a great like him and also Dirk Nowitzki that year, but still, he made 12 All-Star appearances. Now, he made All-NBA first team twice over the course of his career in 2009 and 2010. He made All-NBA second team in 2005, 2006, and 2011, and then he made All-NBA third team in 2007, 2012, and 2013. And as a defender, he made All-Defensive second team 3 times over the course of his career in 2005, 2009, and 2010. And in 2009, he was also the NBA's scoring champion. And speaking of champions, Dwyane Wade won an NBA championship in 3 different years, this being in 2006, 2012, and 2013. The first of those in 2006 was when he was named the Finals MVP. So over the course of his career, D Wade had MVP shares in 8 different seasons, 7 of which he was a top 5 finisher, and one time he actually finished in the top 3. Now that was in 2008-2009 when he was the scoring champion. In terms of some all-time stats for D Wade, he has a 22.0 point per game average, good for 36 in NBA history, 23,165 points, and also 1,620 steals, both put him 30th all time. He has a 23.5 PER, good for 21st in NBA history, 120.7 win shares, which is good for 45th all time, a 73.3 offensive win share total, good for 49th all time, 47.4 defensive win shares, which is good for 57th all time, and honestly, for a guard, that's not that bad. Now, he finishes 24th on offensive box plus minus, and VORP rating. He has a 4.2 offensive box plus minus, a 5.0 box plus minus overall, and then a 62.8 VORP rating. And in terms of usage percentage, he has the 7th highest in NBA history with 31.4%. Now, he also has the most blocks for a shooting guard in NBA history. Now, that shouldn't be a total surprise considering he's among the top of his position in terms of athleticism as well. But just to add another detail to his defensive resume on that side of the ball, in case people were underwhelmed with 3 years of all-defensive second team and arguably the toughest era of basketball. But now let's move forward and discuss what D Wade did when it came to the playoffs. Now, a player like D Wade is kind of hard to categorize for his transition into the playoffs when we look at the stats, because as we know, he came in guns blazing and was instantly one of the best playoff performers in the NBA in as early as his second year, and even got to sit on top of the mountain in year 3. But then after the Shaq era, there was some emptiness for Wade where you could argue that elevated his stats. And then he played second fiddle most of his days alongside LeBron, and then he also had some lingering injuries as well. However, he didn't have a dramatic drop-off in anything major or considering how many different roles he had to adjust to, so I think it's fair to say that he was fine in the playoffs. Over his career, he averaged 20 points per game in 19 of 32 playoff series and cracked 30 points per game in 3 series as well. And he averaged at least 15 points per game in every playoff series, with the only 2 where he didn't being against the Brandon Jennings Bucks and the Derrick Rose-less Chicago Bulls, both in the 2013 playoffs, which again was following a knee surgery for D Wade. That series against Chicago was only 1 or 2 times where he shot below 40% in a series as well. Ironically, the other one was when he was a member of the Chicago Bulls in 2017. But let's hop back into early Wade for a minute. You know, the same guy that averaged 27.4 points per game, 6.6 assists per game, 5.7 rebounds a game, 1.6 steals per game, over a block per game on 48% from the field, and led his team to the conference finals in just year 2. Well, both him and Shaq did, but regardless, Wade was still great. I mean, Miami was actually up 3-2 on Detroit in this series, but blew games 6 and 7. And with the finals also going the distance with the Spurs and Pistons, the Heat very well could have won it all in his second year if they just closed out the Detroit series. But the next year, they would get revenge on Detroit, this time without squandering a 3-2 lead. seed and closed it out in 6 games to play Dirk and the Mavericks in the NBA Finals. Now, the first 2 games of this series, Wade was putting up numbers, but on about 38% from the field and a 1.0 assist to turnover ratio. But after game 2, with the Mavericks up 2-0 and with Shaq struggling this series, that's when D Wade really went off. I mean, he abused the Mavericks inside, drawing foul after foul after foul. And in games 3 to 6, he averaged 39.3 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, 2.5 steals a game, 1 block per game on 51, 33, 80 splits to win 4 straight games, all of which he scored over 30 points in, and the NBA championship for the Heat, and he was named the Finals MVP. Now, of course, outside of the 2002 Western Conference Finals with the Lakers and the Kings, where many people have deemed this to be one of the most rigged series in NBA history, and there's some validity to it. I mean, D Wade shot 73 free throws in the last 4 games, which is roughly as many as the entire Mavericks team. Of course, Dallas did get 20 attempts in each game this series. Now, it still matters to the extent of how a team benefits playing in a certain style, so yeah, maybe it wasn't a great officiated series, but I'm still not going to hold that against Wade for using it to his advantage. After winning in 2006, D Wade finally put himself, officially on the map. Comparisons with Kobe, he got more respect in MVP races, and some were even saying that at that time he had a better start to his career than his draft class friend LeBron James. And while 2006 was a great run for Wade and the Heat, it was pretty much the last one until roster changes would be made. Getting swept by the Bulls, who they beat in the year prior's first round en route to a title, started the questions with Shaq. No playoffs in 2008, another first round loss in 2009, and despite a great 2010 showing by Wade against Boston in the first round, Paul Pierce was just as sensational and the Celtics beat them in 5. And in the summer of 2010, the eyes of the NBA world were back on D Wade. Only this time, it wasn't for good. I mean, the former young hero now became a villain when LeBron James and Chris Bosh joined him in Miami to create a super team. And to be honest, the hate was justified. I mean, these guys embraced being the bad guys of the league and were relatively cocky. And in the 2011 playoffs, after beating Philly in round 1, those Celtics that got the best of both LeBron and Wade the year prior in round 2, and the league MVP Derrick Rose in the conference finals, everything seemed in their favor. And then they got to the finals, and well, we know what happened. I mean, Dirk went off, Jason Terry went off, even JJ Barea was unreal. And in this series, D Wade was actually very good. I mean, he was the leading scorer of this series on about 61% true shooting as well. He even showed up in the last 5 fourth quarters, but his teammate LeBron did not. This series will go down as not just LeBron's biggest choke, but also another missed opportunity for D Wade, because he would have been the Finals MVP for sure if Miami won. But in the 2012 playoffs, they would get their revenge. Now, Wade wasn't Finals MVP this year, but he was actually really good in this playoff run. 22.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds a game, 4.3 assists per game, 1.7 steals per game, 1.3 blocks per game on 53% true shooting is very good, and he averaged over 20 points per game in every single playoff series for this run. In fact, after going down 2-1 to the Danny Granger, Paul George, and Indiana Pacers team in the second round, Wade would average 33 points, 7.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 1.7 steals per game on 11.6% true shooting, higher than the league average, to win the next 3 games. After the first 3, he was playing injured until he got his knee drained. As we mentioned, 2013, Wade had early injuries but played the best when it came to the finals. Nobody ever really brings up this game 7, but Wade was actually really good. 23 points, 10 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and both him and LeBron were the 2 best players in the fourth quarter of that game, so I think this moment for Wade is a little overlooked. And from that point on, we knew he'd have more minor injuries. He was still an all-star until 2016, and actually in that playoffs, he led the Heat to the second round game 7, averaging about 24, 6, 3.5, a steal, a block on 47, 50, 78 splits in the second round, and lost 3 of those games by single digits, all without Chris Bosh. Because in 2015, they missed the playoffs, and both Bosh and Wade missed a lot of games. Now in 2016, they got the 3 seed. Bosh did miss a lot of games, but Wade was healthy. But nobody ever really looks at this when they're talking about LeBron, most notably in comparison to Jordan. I mean, yes, they'll say the Bulls lost in 7 in the second round in 1994, but so did Miami in 2016, which was also without Bosh. I mean, if Bosh is playing, and let's say that we assume LeBron's out of the league just like Jordan in 1994, then this Heat team is most likely going to the NBA Finals. So overall, I would say D Wade is properly rated. People do say too much that he was washed by like 2012, 2013, but he just had some injuries. I mean, he still showed his normal self during those times, like the series against Indiana, the 2011 to 2013 finals. I mean, even 2014, I think he gets more of the disrespect than he deserves. 2011 Celtics series, the 2014 Nets, and so on. He wasn't really washed. You could say he was washed when he went to Chicago, because as a Bulls fan, I watched Wade that year myself, and he was still good, but just not the same. And he even acknowledged that when he was playing with Chicago, regardless of it being his hometown team, he felt a true homesickness to Miami, and he couldn't picture himself in another jersey. Why do you think the next season when he was with Cleveland, he told LeBron and Kobe Altman that he wanted to trade back to the Heat? So it's just something to think about. I think people go too far when they talk about Wade and when he became washed or when he became a shell of himself. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about D Wade. I mean, properly rated in the aspect of just being around where people rank him. I think the 20 to 25 area is right for him, but let me know what you think. I'm gonna end the video here though. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.